We're talking about podcasts.
Mornings.
We're talking about itty-bitty podcasts.
Mornings.
Oh, Merry Mini Monday mornings, Chunkies. I'm Carter.
I'm Doge.
Jordan.
I feel like we should say before we get started, this is the earliest it's ever been.
It is.
It's very early in the morning.
It certainly
I didn't
is.
even know this hour existed.
This is coffeeless Jordan, too. by the
Yeah,
way.
I'm having a rough go of it thus far.
We're getting lots of different versions of Jordan over the last few podcasts.
That's true.
It's George Clooney's birthday.
George.
I know I normally do a fun Star
that
was
riddle
born.
was pretty bad.
Yeah,
Wasn't it bad?
Yeah.
Who was it though? That's the clue. So
Val
who is
Kilmer.
it?
George.
Very
Clooney.
good. Yes, George Clooney, friend of the podcast. I would have
George.
taken more time to write something creative, but a lot of my time has just been spent on thinking about Endgame still.
Just decompressing.
It's still on my mind.
Yeah.
I think it's still on everybody's mind. So this movie, and
Also,
again,
there will be no spoilers in this episode.
No.
Just
Don't
so
worry.
everyone knows.
Please don't go. Please don't go.
Please don't go. Come back.
We do record on Fridays. I don't know if, I hope the Chunkies are aware of that.
No, we're always live.
It's live.
That's what on
We
demand
sit around
means.
and wait for you to press play.
Yeah, someone's like, my version of this was a little bit different. Do they just keep every time someone clicks
Every time
play?
we get a notification on our phone,
Just
somebody
start
clicks
over.
play,
Oh, sorry,
we
guys.
just
We
do
got to go
show
back to the
again.
beginning. Somebody just started it.
So Friday now, it's been out for almost a little
full
more
week.
than a
A
full
week.
week.
Yeah.
I guess Thursdays technically, because midnight showings are so weird now because they're not midnight anymore and they're on Thursdays.
Those millennials.
It's the sixth highest grossing movie of all time worldwide.
Yep.
Wow.
Sixth.
It's projected to pass Titanic by the end of this week.
Yep. So that,
Wow.
do you think it'll pass Avatar too? Because Avatar's about 600 million more.
I think it will eventually, yeah.
I think so. I mean, I like it better
why
than Avatar.
can studios just tag on another weekend if they want? Because here's what's so interesting. Because when you look at, like, if you were to go to Box Office Mojo and look at both of these James Cameron movies, Titanic and Avatar, they had 2 releases. So technically,
Yeah.
Box Office Mojo gives you how many weeks they were in theaters.
Right.
And it's bonkers. It's like 40 weeks for Avatar. And here we have Endgame with 1. And it's already 6th all time. It's honestly unbelievable.
It really is, yeah.
And so that had me thinking, because on one side of the world, we have Endgame, which is, I mean, going to be possibly the biggest. It's hard to even say possibly anymore because it's shattering all expectations.
Yeah.
Biggest blockbusters of all time.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of like, don't you feel like the movie world should just give it space? Like, just don't do anything.
Yeah.
Don't try and do anything for a while.
Well, there's not a football game the week after the Super Bowl.
right.
Right? Is there?
Dude,
I actually
what-
didn't know
there's
that.
not.
before.
No,
Okay, good. Perfect,
no,
good.
that's a great point. That's a great point. Unless,
might
the
be.
Pro Bowl might be before, but
That's what I was going to say too. I was like,
Either
you
way-
can't forget about the Pro Bowl.
but
Pro
you
Bowl?
definitely forget about the Pro Bowl. So that's
Sure.
that's
But
still a
somebody
good
does.
analogy.
Well, it's
But
not super.
so a preview came out recently
I hope.
for Sonic,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
and I mean, we want some quick opinions on that. If you haven't seen the preview, go see it. I think people should watch it. Right?
Yeah.
This is the worst.
I don't want to steal Doja's thunder here, but he has one particular complaint that
the
haunts
worst
me.
character design I've ever seen.
Did you hear what is happening?
Yeah.
I did.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there.
Do you know how much that will
the
cost?
director tweeted?
They only
after,
have 5 months to do it.
After the trailer came out, the director tweeted, "Hey, we've heard your feedback loud and clear. You guys absolutely hate the way this fast guy looks, so we are completely redesigning him."
Well, from a movie standpoint, there's one thing and one thing only that I like about the movie, and it is that Ben Schwartz plays Sonic.
yeah.
Right.
Other than that, like the tone of the trailer was atrocious. I hate the like.
You know the worst part about the trailer?
that Sonic's an alien from outer space.
No, that's pretty bad. His teeth.
Yeah, that's
His
the
teeth
complaint
are
I was talking about.
absolutely the worst
He
part.
has people teeth
He has human teeth.
inside of his alien Uncanny Valley hedgehog. Hedgehog? That'd be better.
Either way.
yeah.
Hedgehog head.
So here's the thing. Like,
That's hard
this
to say.
preview, regardless of the time of year, probably would have been bad.
I think
Oh
so.
yeah.
And granted, it's not coming out until November, supposedly.
Yeah.
But they gave us a preview
cross
this
your
early,
fingers.
which honestly, usually a pretty big garner of how much a movie expects to make is how quickly you get like how far away from the release date you actually get a preview.
Yeah.
So something like that to tease us is like, whoa, this is going to be a big deal. But
in terms of like video game movies,
Right.
they put that out the week that Detective Pikachu released.
right.
That
Which
feels like a really unwanted comparison to draw. In terms of character design,
Yeah.
at least, that's a really
and
unwanted
Detective
comparison
Pikachu
to
is
draw.
getting some good reviews.
Yeah.
So that's good for
Yeah.
Doge on the
I've
box
heard
office.
good
It
things.
is good for me.
But it kind of in a roundabout way had me dive into some research because even though Sonic is not coming out anywhere near Endgame, I started thinking about what are some movies that were kind of forgotten about or they gained momentum well after. And that's simply because they were released around
wrong
the time
time.
of like massive
Yeah.
movies. And when I say massive, I don't necessarily mean good. I just mean these movies had more hype.
Yeah.
And so I have a fun list here. I don't know if we can call it fun burst because there's not really numbers here. So I've got 5 different movies here.
I want to look through your list. Your paper see-through.
Oh gosh. I've got 5 movies. And then I'm going to give you, my research was, I kind of did a buffer around each of these movies of 3 weeks. So either 3 weeks before or 3 weeks after. This
Okay.
would be something where you feel like it's fresh on the mind. And that's kind of the roundabout way for me because I had just seen Endgame, this massive CGI masterpiece. And then I see like Sonic the Hedgehog. And I'm like, whoa, you guys should have waited.
This other massive CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You shouldn't have-
they're into the spectrum.
I don't think you should have done this. So I want to start with, are y'all familiar with Edge of Tomorrow?
Yeah.
I own
Also
that movie.
called Live, Die, Repeat. Great
Uh-huh.
movie.
Love that
Did
movie.
not do very well
Nope.
in theaters. It was released on June 6th of 2014. Okay. But another movie that was released in June 6th of 2014 that did better was The Fault in Our Stars.
Oh, yeah. You can't compete
That was
with that one.
a very big deal. There was also 22 Jump Street, How to Train Your Dragon 2, all within a week of that.
Wow. That's a
And
big
then
week.
2 weeks after that release was the new Tarzan. Do you remember the new Tarzan that was coming
yeah,
out
live
Tarzan
action, yeah.
with
with Skarsgård?
Yeah.
And so all of those ended up doing better in theaters than The Edge of Tomorrow.
Dang.
Wow.
That's
Very
crazy.
interesting.
Which is, it's particularly with Tom Cruise, seems wild.
it really
Tom
does.
Cruise seems like surefire box office money.
Yeah.
Was that around the time that they were doing the Scientology documentary, though?
You know what?
I wonder if that
That's
had
very
something to
interesting.
do with it. If
That
there-
might be.
People were like, listen,
Yeah.
my girl Leah told me not to go see this.
No,
Yeah.
that's
didn't.
been within the last couple of years.
Was it? I
her
don't remember
thing.
when that was. Anyway.
So Iron Giant. Any fans of the Iron Giant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1999, August 6th. Also released on August 6th, Mystery Men. Do y'all remember that?
No.
No.
Ben Stiller, and it's a ragtag crew of superheroes, but it made more
What?
money. There was like a guy who could, like, he was like Magneto, but it only worked with forks and spoons or something. And then a girl whose dad lived in a bowling ball. Like the spirit of it was just so bizarre, but it made more money. Also, the same
What?
release. So the Iron Giant and The Sixth Sense released on the same day.
Wow.
And then
Oh, wow.
Runaway Bride was just a week before. So it was
Wow,
like
yeah.
right in the middle of all these things, especially when you're thinking about 1999.
Yeah.
Some
It's
more
hard
stuff
for an
that was considered
animated movie to
iconic.
compete too with any of that stuff.
Is that what
Animated
they
just doesn't
mean?
draw as much.
When they say party like it's 1999, do they mean party
They
like
mean-
Iron Giant?
They
and
mean grab yourself a ticket to the Iron Giant and
Sixth
have yourself a
Sense
good
and
old
Runaway
time.
Bride just came out? Okay,
Yes,
I thought so.
that's exactly what they mean. Scott Pilgrim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, August 13th of 2010. You see a lot of these are summer releases.
Yeah.
So usually these more, not necessarily lower budget type films around the time of blockbusters is not the best idea. But you had Inception,
Okay, yeah.
The Expendables,
Yeah.
and Salt. Salt was the Angelina Jolie
Oh,
movie
yeah. I forgot about
that
that.
was like, had people right down the middle in terms of whether they liked it or not. But all of those were within 3 weeks of Scott Pilgrim, so it didn't do so hot.
Jeez.
The Big Lebowski. So we're going a little more back in time here. March 6th, 1998. Do you remember the movie Everest? It made so much money.
man.
It was a mountain climbing movie.
Yeah,
and I
I
remember
do
seeing it
remember
in
that.
theaters, and I vividly remember it because I thought I wasn't ever going to be able to pee. Like I held my pee for the whole movie because it was intense, and then I came out and I cried. I was like younger. I think I was like
13,
11,
14.
12.
I think it was like 20.
And I was just like, oh my God. It's like, I'm never going to pee again. What happens? Like, what happens? Like, if I
is
had
it
had
just
a
there
cell
now,
phone, I
or-
would have looked up, hey, Google, can I die from not peeing?
I think you probably can. Just
Maybe.
throwing that out there.
Man in the Iron Mask was within a week of Lebowski, U.S. Marshals, which was a Tommy Lee Jones movie with Wesley Snipes. It was a big deal. And then The Wedding Singer. Adam Sandler kind of had a firm grip
Love that Sandler humor.
On the box office. And so Lebowski was one of those movies that did not gain momentum until
That's interesting.
much later. And then finally, Shawshank Redemption, considered one of the greatest movies of all time. October 14th, 1994. Released on the same day, Pulp Fiction.
Wow.
Did you know that?
No.
Those
that's
both
crazy.
released on the exact same day.
That's
and
pretty
then
wild.
just a week before, Interview with a Vampire,
Oh, wow.
which has Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, big names. That was Tom Cruise pre-Scientology reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, so Shawshank Redemption made about $52 million in theaters. Do you know what more than doubled it and came out just about a week after? The Santa Claus.
Oh, man.
More than the Shawshank Redemption, which, I mean,
That's
that couldn't blow our
crazy.
minds at all. I mean, they're about the same quality of movie, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Tim
that's
Allen's
just
in both
something
of
that
them.
happens. I know. And I feel like I'm always aware of that
Tim
because
Robbins.
I don't know if I would want to even be, I don't know if I would want to be near Endgame in terms of a release right now. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how Detective Pikachu does.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, they've got all that, especially like overseas interest. Like,
Right.
Like, I think it'll do well here as well. But I
Yeah.
think like this movie is going to do particularly well in Japan, where Pokemon was like started.
Born, where
Yeah.
they were all born
Yeah.
before they made their great migration
Yeah,
to
Yes.
right.
America. Yeah.
I see you've watched the new National Geographic.
yeah.
National Treasure?
Same.
Yeah.
It's all the same, honestly.
National Treasure Book of Pokemon.
But yeah, that'll be really interesting, especially if it continues with the good reviews that it has right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. I plan on seeing it.
Do you
And I'm
think?
not afraid to say that.
I'm not. I'm never gonna say it. Again, without spoilers.
Mm.
Okay. Now we can talk Game of Thrones. What's so interesting about this is you're gonna get to hear us talk about not what happened last night on Game of Thrones, but what happened a week ago.
Yeah.
Right. And so we probably won't do this every episode, but it's a big deal. It feels like the consensus. Have y'all seen the Game of Thrones
Yes.
most recent episode? Yeah. The consensus is Marvel. In terms of battles, Marvel kicked
It's
booty.
not even close. It's
Yeah.
not even close.
Yeah.
In terms of conclusion, like I think it's at some point on our podcast, probably when we do Star Wars, we're going to have a really, really fruitful conversation about subverting expectations for subversion's sake. But the things that happened by the time you were hearing this 2 weeks ago on Game of Thrones felt very, very similar to unceremoniously killing Snoke in the middle of The Last Jedi
Just because. you can.
because nobody expected it.
Yeah. I literally had a conversation with Vince Kelly about this. And it's not that we were even on different sides. It was just, it's either me just making a desperate grab at deciding like, is good writing, like can subversion be good writing?
I think if
In
it's
that
done well,
sense.
Yeah.
And does that kind of bring some kind of realism? Because there's so much stuff we don't ever expect to happen. But even then too, how come if it's fantasy or if it's science fiction, why not just give the people what they want?
well, here's the thing. Avengers Endgame completely subverted my expectations.
Great point.
That's a subversion of what I thought was going to happen. And I'm not going to get spoilery with it, but I had a very different roadmap in my head of how I thought that movie would play out. But the writing was good and it was earned, and everything that happened in that movie felt like the inevitable, unavoidable, logical, yet still surprising conclusion to what had come before.
Yep.
A next step that both made sense and surprised me.
Yeah.
And this next step in Game of Thrones surprised me, but it doesn't hold water if you've been watching for 10 years, as long as the show's been on.
I think that a good subversion should feel like a well-executed magic trick. The ending payoff should be, oh, I did not know how they were going to get there.
But when you watch it again, you see like, oh, okay.
I can
now
see
I can
I can
see
see
where
the
they're
pieces
going.
together. And I think bad subversion and kind of what The Last Jedi felt like and what this has kind of felt like to me is watch my hand for this magic trick and then slap with the right and be like, you didn't expect that, did you? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, why would I? That's
Yeah.
not what we had agreed on. And so now that being said, by the time this episode comes out, I might already be eating this words because maybe they have this brilliant setup to just absolutely pay off everything that they have done.
Seems
As of
unlikely.
now, on the day we are recording, my prediction is that we have watched Game of Thrones jump the shark.
Yeah.
Wow, that would even be, and that's a bigger deal than than when Happy Days did it, obviously,
Yeah.
because this has far much more worldwide appeal.
Right.
I don't know. I put them about equal.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same. So
Is Game of Thrones the Happy Days? It's HBO's Happy Days. They've just been chasing their Happy Days. We finally got it.
It's when John like elbows the jukebox and
yes,
Yeah.
amazing.
Tyrion's just
John Z,
like, hey.
John Z,
John Z.
the Johns. I think let's just give ourselves so that we don't have to be so vague. Let's give ourselves a little bit. We'll give a spoiler alert because I want to talk a little bit more about this, about Game of Thrones, just because it's such a big conversation.
If you are not caught up to season 8, episode 3, The Battle of Winterfell, skip.
You can turn it off now.
I think it's technically called The Long Night now.
Is it really?
I think so. That's the name of the episode.
Whatever.
They subverted our expectations.
Whatever.
So what was the most disappointing about this episode to you?
They gave Arya the end of someone else's story. John's story. That's the end of John's arc. That's what
because of like the theories and everything is like the prince that was promised.
Not even that. Within the show itself, I don't want to talk a ton about theories because theorizing can get you into trouble if you're hoping on that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's fun to do.
But the show is set upon the idea of like the myths mean nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that.
The biggest bummer to me is that the show up to this point has been, the message of the show has been, if you don't put your crap aside and band together, you will die.
Yep.
That has been present in every single episode since the beginning. Every episode can be summed up in that sentence because we watch people die because they don't put their crap aside. They focus on the pettiness of their relationships rather than the big stakes of the overall end game.
Yeah.
No Avengers reference there. But what this episode did is take that and throw it away and say, well, you actually don't have to put all your crap aside. Most of you do. If most of you can band together, or if some of you can band together, you're going to avert the long night.
Yeah.
But what this episode did is prove Cersei right.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if this is really the end of the Night King, this was just a North problem. This was not a problem that all 7 kingdoms needed to unite to fight against. This is, hey, let me send troops to the north and they'll take care of it. And that's a big bummer because that's the opposite of what the show's been saying for the past 10 years.
Yeah. Arya's my second favorite character in the show, so I have literally no problem with what went down as far as like, you took it from my boy. Like that's not my situation at all. I do just agree. Like, you have set up importance on one character and then at the last second, slapped to the face with the left hand.
And I think for this sake, let's not forget, and this doesn't change that it's disappointing, right? I'm disappointed too. And I think at first I was just really disappointed at the end of the episode. Then I was like, no. My optimism shined through. And I was like, let's see. I mean, this is halfway through the season. What's going to happen? But like David and David, they lost source material 2 years ago.
Sure.
And it's like, should they have just waited? Like, because weren't they trying to press into George Martin and be like, hey.
Supposedly he has already told them everything that was going to happen. Like, supposedly we're still following what his original plan was. I know I don't think we actually are, but supposedly we were.
Wow.
So I think he's waiting for the show to end before he releases.
So he can change his ending if nobody likes it.
In 4 weeks, The Winds of Winter is going to drop. Like, I think the book comes out when
I was having a conversation with some of my friends about this because it's such a unique... I don't think there's ever been, at least not that I remember, a situation like this. Like this epic series is being carried by literature. The literature falls off. They have to finish the series. Literature comes back as soon as series is over. And then all of a sudden, there's so much hype. Like, it's just building off of the hype.
Cynicism in me says that he's letting the show take the fall for what he's, an ending that he's not confident about.
Which this is a guy that wrote about slaughters of people that we loved, right? So it's not like him to do something like this, to just be seedy and awful.
Jump on at that point.
Come on.
My main disappointment with the episode that we got last week is that I feel like Game of Thrones has been completely neutered and they're afraid to do anything that matters. I mean, we lost, again, spoilers. I'm giving you 5 seconds to hit pause. 4, 3, 2, here we go. We lost Jorah and Lyanna.
Yeah.
And Theon,
right.
Yeah.
This is the 3rd episode of the final season of the show.
Yep.
I'm not a masochist, I don't think, but like, where are the deaths that matter here?
Yeah, there was just
Yeah,
something
sure.
about the stakes. And I think it's because it happened in the middle of the season and the stakes just did not feel high
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
for this episode.
Yeah.
And it was maybe a miscommunication of it seems like other important things should be happening. And then at the end of the episode, it was like, oh, this was the big important thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, we could talk all day about how dark the episode was. That's an editing thing. It's not a big deal. But
Yeah.
like, for me, it's just like, what happened to the Game of Thrones? I mean, am I supposed to be afraid going into this next? They're not going to kill anybody.
No.
What am I afraid of? Everybody's going to live.
Yeah.
And I know
So-
that's not true, but that's just how it feels.
Yeah. We'll see what our tone is next week. But yeah, I just thought we would talk a little bit about that because I think it is such a big conversation right now.
I do want to say the line that they tried to bring back and use as foreshadowing in this episode from Melisandre, when she says, "I see eyes that you will shut forever." Some brown,
Green, blue.
well, she says brown, green, blue in this episode. When she actually says that for the first time, she says brown, blue, green, placing no importance on the blue eyes. And that is clearly a reference to Arya's time in Bravos with the Faceless Men and her training to become an assassin. That is not, I don't believe that was ever intended to be foreshadowing for Arya killing the Night King. I think that was, they made this call. Apparently they made the call 3 years ago for Arya to be the one to do it. And then they're like, well, crap, we haven't really set that up. Let's find something that we've said before that we can use to justify that.
Yep. So movies coming out this week. That was our Game of Tones.
Game of Moans.
Game
We're
of-
so
Game of
bummed about it.
Groans.
Yeah,
Dude.
Game of Groans for real.
May 10th, Detective Pikachu release. So this makes Box Office Ball interesting. I wonder if I'm going to go see this. I might go see this in theaters
Yeah, I think I might too.
just
It's
because I'm a
fun.
Pokemon guy. There's the Tolkien movie is coming out,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is
Yeah.
not doing so hot review-wise right now.
Oh, man.
And then let's just pick a random one. The Biggest Little Farm. That's also coming out.
That's
Can't
a
wait.
documentary, right?
It's a documentary. I think I saw a
actually,
preview for it. It looks
preview
really
looked
interesting.
awesome.
That looks pretty
It
good.
has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Wow.
So
Wow.
maybe you should check it out. Okay, well, to end this episode, only say your name if you have to poop really bad.
I'm Dosh.
All right, well,
Goodbye.
goodbye, guys.